up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are in the garage. I am sitting in the MR2 Spyder. I did get around to a first start finally, and it's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to happen in this video in order to show the first start. So in order to do that, to get from where I was in the last video, where basically I was a little bit sick and it took a while to get back to the point where I felt like coming into the garage and working. So with that said, there's a lot that's going to go into this video. And so with that, I have a list of things that I had to do in order to get around to a first start. So I had to swap the shifter cable, mod and mount the slave cylinder, get the engine back in the car on the mounts, mod and mount the throttle body, mod the intake, connect the battery and the harness, get power, check the throttle position sensor, and install KPro. Then calibrate the throttle position sensor, tighten the lines, hoses, drains, install the mount between the transmission and firewall, add fluids, leak check, bleed the clutch, and then first start. So finally, this is the video where we get around to our first start. There's a lot of footage that went into this video. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be. I'll try to edit out anything that's not, pertinent, but don't worry about that. Sit back, relax, enjoy the video. See you guys on the other side. Alright guys, so from the last video, the shifter cable was bad. So in this video, I'm removing the old shifter cable and I'm pulling it out. And then I'm gonna install the new shifter cable, get it all buttoned down. And then I'm gonna test it out just to make sure that I can go through all of the gears and hit reverse with absolutely no issues. Slave cylinder, and I don't know if one is made specifically for the swap, like with the right connection, but this is not. This is gonna work for your K-series cars, I guess. And this little adapter right here, or whatever fitting, is gonna be needed for the MR2 Spyder. So what I would have to do, I believe this is the right size, is maybe it's too small. Just punch these out. Oh, I think I already did. Yeah, punch those out. The gasket is still in there, and this is new, so I'm just gonna truss the gasket. Hopefully it does what it's supposed to do. But yeah, what I would do is take the punch, well, screwdriver really. The punches are somewhere else, but I would take the screwdriver and just knock these little pins out. And here are the pins, but it's in, so go ahead and put these back in place. See if any side is better. That side looks better. Actually, this will sit a little more flat. So I got it in, but I have to undo it to get this in on the bottom. Fun. What the fuck? Oh, it goes on the top. I didn't even see it fell off. There it is. Got it back in place. So now I just got to get that lined up and get a bolt in there, and we're good to go. It's kind of hard to lean it up against that. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is make an extension for this to go beyond this point. So maybe I want it to come roughly another inch, and that'll bring the cable all the way around to this wheel, and that'll allow me to get everything hooked up without having to modify the throttle cable itself. So, and then I could make the adjustments on the little, you know, the throttle cable. It looks like it'll allow me to adjust it about an inch. Yeah, so those threads, that's probably about an inch of adjustability. Because what I thought about doing was taking this to a machine shop and having a hole drilled right here. But instead of doing that, I'm just gonna pull the cable forward roughly an inch, wrap it around, and we should be good to go. And I should have really good throttle cable, like a really good pedal feel. Not necessarily too much, but about right here. Cut that off. All right, so that's gonna work. Got it at the angle, so I just gotta spot weld that in there, and then I have to cut this. Come on, stay in that corner, nice and snug, just like that. Cut this off. All right, so here's my little rigged up throttle body. So what I did was cut this little bracket, weld it in there, weld it here. And what this allows me to do is add an extension on so I can use the MR2 Spyder throttle cable. I had to trim it down to fit in here, but when I did, this wheel was at roughly, I don't know, 20-30% throttle. And so I added this extension so that I could move the cable from up here to over here, and that way it just wraps around the throttle wheel. Oh yeah, tip in, tip in, tip in. There's no slack in the pedal. And I can hear it closing the plate completely. Perfect, and then floor it. Yeah, so we should be good to go. But I have to push this in all the way up to the joint, and it makes this protrude into this bin right here. So I'm gonna cut this off and then reconnect it, and this will go into the throttle body, and it'll be at an angle like this. So this is gonna be my intake pipe. This will be close to the fender, so it's going to get the air from the driver's side fender vent. This is the little bung that I drilled here for the IAT sensor. All right, so got that back in. Getting a little hot. 85 degrees, not too bad, but I think what I'm gonna have to do is take this out of the fuse box and route it back around, because right now it's going behind the cable, the shifter cable bracket, and I think I want to have it come out this way so it's a little bit easier to, got a little bit more room to reach up on top of the battery. But intake is in. I got it back in the corner like I want. All right, so got that plugged back in, got that calibrated to 0.53, which I think is gonna be good enough. And get that stuff out of the way. And so read 0.8, I think that's good enough. And then floor it, 102. All right, and then read 0.8, 102. All right, so we are calibrated. And then let me double check all this other stuff. Which map am I running? Let's go check idle, disable idle valve, injectors, 410cc. What else? Rev limits 76. We're gonna go, I'm gonna say 8,400. I know I said not 8,600 to 9,000. I'm gonna go just 8,400, and I guess I'll just let off if I feel like well, really what's gonna happen is on the dyno I'll have this adjusted to maybe like maybe 200 RPMs above where peak power is. So let's say 8,000 RPMs, I run out of power, starts to, flatten out and curve back down. I'll probably go 8,200. So all right, so I had to pop this one off and swap them. Apparently the longer straight route coming up under the bottom of this intake manifold down here, it just wasn't working. So and it's kind of hard to show that. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. And it's a little too dark, but yeah, so I had to get the bend right there. I had to get that bend under the intake manifold. So the good thing is I'm not using the out of our control valve, so under the throttle body I'll have the space for this bend and we'll be good to go. So I just gotta make sure that this isn't kinked, but it is kind of tight. Like I wish the line was a little bit longer, but what a freaking pain. It's just a terrible angle, and it's partially trying to do it around the camera. Maybe. All right, so under the car, digital camera picks up way better and lower lighting. So got the mounts in. All right, so we got the clutch line hooked up. The coolant hose and the coolant plugs are tightened. I may have to tighten the coolant hose a little bit more. I don't doubt it. The oil drain plug, yeah, clutch line. So in the morning, all I have to do is put in, the oil, the tranny fluid, the coolant, and start. Make sure everything sounds good. Make sure I don't have any fuel, coolant, oil, tranny leaks. So start, leak check, and then once that's good, I'll bleed the coolant, bleed the clutch, and we are good to go. So I am nearing the end of my checklist. Exciting, exciting. And let's just get that lubed up. I don't pour oil inside. I know some people recommend it, but is it really necessary? Not really. Especially to just kind of bump the engine a couple times. Just a little quick something that I make to bleed the clutch. I think that is about good enough. Yeah, that'll do. And so basically just run this hose down. First dry it out, make sure there's no water in there. Pour your brake fluid in. And then just kind of take your hose, and what you want is this. You want this on the bottom. And so I'm just gonna put it in there, and then I'm gonna try to get it to stay at the bottom, kind of coil it a little bit with the coils landing on top. And once it's in there, it's a little harder to see, but just kind of go around in a circle so that it layers top to bottom, bottom to top. And then put your lid on, and this should allow me, where is it? Okay, it's on the bottom. So that's good. So I got plenty of fluid to pull from while I'm pumping the. All right, so here is the hose attached to the slave cylinder, and then try to make this not too crazy looking, shaky, but here it is attached to the water bottle. And so all I have to do now is go inside, pump the pedal, and we should start getting fluids from the front of the car towards the back, and the air should come out. And with the hose all the way down in the bottom, we should be good to go. So let's start bleeding this clutch. All right, so bleeding didn't work. Bleeding did not work, so I had to go to the quickest store that I could find that had something that I think would work, and I got a brake fluid bleeder from Harbor Freight Tools. So 32 bucks. The magic. So pop this off. My little makeshift bleeder that didn't quite work for me. It worked the first time around. It worked amazingly well. And I guess this time I just happened to let the master cylinder get a little too low. So transfer the fluids. I might be using all of it. Yeah. Just slightly over the fill line, whatever. I guess I'll just go all the way down just because. And then Look at that, man. It wants to fall over. Use this for some support. Perfect. That works. And it doesn't seem like it'll fall to either side, so. All right, let's get this party started. Is get this screwed in here, and that's already snug. Looks like maybe a 14 mil. And with that open, we should see some action back here. So let's see. I can see air coming through too. All right, so I am exhausted. This thing here does not create the vacuum that it should. Not sure how people bleed with this. And so I brought my little shark rocket out here. Let me zoom out. Yeah, so I brought my little shark rocket out. I took a vinegar bottle, cut the top off so that this fit nice and snug and be able to create a vacuum. I turned the rocket on and it completely collapses the bottle. As you can see, I got a little bit of fluid down in here. And then I open the bleed valve up once it's running with the vacuum. And then I have a wrench right here and push it towards the firewall, open the bleed valve, and the bubbles and all that stuff start coming out, and then a little bit of fluid comes out too into here, and that's what I'm having to do to bleed the clutch and the slave. And then I also compress this, so I just push this right here. I just push it that way and just hold it down as hard as I can. Reach up here, reach over here, pull the bleed valve to tighten it back. It's right. Where's the wrench? Where's the wrench? Right here. So yeah, push it to the firewall to loosen, and then pull it back right here to tighten it. But that's it right there. It's on, and you're gonna see the bottle collapse. And as you can see, I'm not at risk of sucking fluid into the vacuum. And then as soon as I open this bleed valve, you'll see the bubbles, suds, all that stuff come down. Let me turn the vacuum on turbo first. So we're on turbo, boosted. And then open the valve. And then immediately the air starts coming out. And then I'm gonna have to put the phone down. You can see more bubbles. I'm gonna set the phone down. I'm gonna crush this slave cylinder, and then it's gonna get a lot more out, and we'll be pretty much good to go. All right, so got a good bit more bubbles out. Crushed it. You can see it's still crushed, so that's a good sign. It means it's not much more air in the system. And I like to just wait until all of these bubbles kind of make their way down into the bottle. And that looks good. The line is now clear, so I can kill the vacuum. And we should be good. Like, It's crazy, like just the amount of time it took to figure out a way to actually get a good vacuum on this system. But the stock setup, or the little stuff that comes from the store, they did not work. All right, and then let me get up and show. Reservoir still full. Yep, still full. And then what I had to do to keep pressure on the pedal is slide the seat all the way up to roughly the low latch right here. And yeah, wedge I don't know, this is probably a 2 foot, 18 inch to 24 inch 2x4, just wedge it in between the seat. As you can see, it's a good bit of pressure to crush it like that, but pull that out, and then the pedal was dropping to the floor, so pull this out, and now we got pressure. Drive. All right, so everything is good to go. I got coolant in, I have oil in, I have clutch fluid in, and for me that was very important so that I could push in the clutch and not engage the transmission, so that I don't have to really worry about the shafts being in. My reason for that being, if I have the clutch depressed, the shaft, the clutch is not going to engage the transmission is not going to spin, and so I don't have to add the fluids. I could just test it just to make sure that she crank and idle for a few seconds with no issues, and then kill the engine and then install everything. So I'm gonna jump in the cabin real quick, fire her up, hopefully, fingers crossed, and we should be good to go. So all right, so hopefully all of that didn't run down the battery. Clutch is in. First start. All right. Actually, I'm gonna do that one more time. I had earbuds in. Clutch is in. First start. All right. Actually, I'm going to do that one more time. I had earbuds in. All right, guys, as you can see, she's alive. Don't know if she's at the magic 250 horsepower number yet, but we'll find out in the near future. So like, comment, subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.